worked together for several decades in various projects. And I just appreciate her wisdom that's very rooted in the places where she lives, with the earth, herself, and with the people that she accompanies and walks with. So she's a Maryknoll Sister, and I'm just going to let her carry forth. So thank you so much, Rosemary, for being with us.
And thank you, Joan, and all the members of New Mexico and El Paso IPL community. You know, it's really a great gift and blessing to be a part of the community and collaboration as we care and love our communities and care for sacred land, water, air, and address the challenges before us, especially the climate crisis. Well, today I'd like to begin by sharing a story of a transforming experience I had in nature, and it's related to today's theme. And all of your sharing has helped me also in this theme as well. So some years ago, I traveled to Italy to visit relatives and friends there. And while in Terni, Umbria province, some friends invited me to join them on a day trip to Mount Laverna. And it was a beautiful drive through the verdant countryside. Then we continued uphill into a scenic mountaintop forest called La Foresta. And arriving there, I learned from my Italian friends that Francis of Assisi had spent 2 months at this mountaintop retreat. At the time, Francis was in failing health and failing eyesight. Yes. And he had been advised to take some time for rest. After we went to the little rustic hermitage where he stayed, my friends then led me to a nearby cave that was deep in the mountainside. And a sign near the cave indicated that Francis had gone to pray daily in the cave. And it is believed that inside that cave, he was inspired to compose the Canticle of Creation. I remember entering that spacious cavern with a very rough rock embedded wall, the vaulted ceilings about 30 feet high, and an interior expanse of 50 feet or more. And on the left, the cave walls came together in a very sharp V formation. And I can recall standing inside the cave for some time, just carefully observing and trying to absorb in that enveloping darkness and stillness. And I wondered what Francis had experienced in that cave interior while in contemplation. And all the more being aware that inside this cave, Francis had been inspired to compose the Canticle of Creation. So in preparing for today's reflections, I decided to revisit Mount Laverna. I went back in my memory to the cave in La Foresta, and I sat with Francis. And there I wanted to draw insights from his intimate communion with all creatures, and how we likewise are called to embody love and act on behalf of all beings and creatures in God's creation. What new messages and inspirations could I draw from my transformative experience there, which was several decades ago? You know, how does Francis show us a way of being in intimate communion with all creatures in creation that was reflected in his joyful zest for life? Francis is known for that, always joyful, the troubadour, singing. How do we live out a deepening, intentional communion with other than human beings? Well, I began first in the cave by focusing on the cave itself. Francis obviously loved the cave and had been drawn to pray there. I began asking myself what the cave signifies for me. The cave is a hollowed out place in the body of earth, a kind of womb, a place of origin, of potential new life. So how does grounding ourselves in awareness of our own origins from the earth release energy for life? Next, the cave's darkness and silence came, and it evoked a sense of the unknown. Yet it's sacred, fertile space within each person where our intuitive, creative energies abide. We tend this inner space as a sacred task in the midst of dark, unknown times. And we all agree we are indeed in grave times, threatening humanity, threatening species and extinction, threatening the very earth. Next, I sensed the energy of love that was filling the cave. It was as though it was an energy field of love. Francis had lived a life of great love. So Francis's heart resonated and was in harmony with the love of God's heart. So this insight led me further to explore the meaning of the word resonate. And that had emerged in my reflections on just an energy field of love. And I found that the word resonate comes from the Latin word sonare, which means to produce sound, to repeat sound, to make an echoing sound, to extol loudly, to respond as if by resonance as to music. It also means to relate harmoniously. So all of this evoked a heightened awareness of energy waves filling the space of that cave. And I understood that through the movement of his heart, Francis was aware and experienced God's love as the energy source at the center of every creature and being in God's creation. And that was bonding him as kin brother to all created beings. And so this was the larger community Francis felt intimately one with. His love for humans in need extended much further to include all creatures, earth, sun, and moon. Within Francis's heart-to-heart love bonding with God, Francis experienced an identical love bonding with all creatures who spoke to him of God's love, beauty, and creativity. So Francis's heart also resonated in a special way with the energy of love that was filling not only the interior of that cave, but all creation. He experienced God's presence filling and enveloping him with love. And it was in that energetic field of love that Francis's heart overflowed to bring forth his heart song in the Canticle of Creation. And I believe that's our call as well. So I offer this experience and reflection as a way, I believe, of showing how Francis, through his life and example, raised to the surface of our human consciousness what it means to truly live in intimate communion with all creation and experience every being in some way as revelatory of God's love within this energy field of love that's infusing the entire universe. So we're all on this path, and it's inviting us to continue living into a deeper, intimate communion with God and all creation. And now that we're privileged, we are the first generation of humans to know the story of the universe. This is our larger context. And in it, there's so much to inspire and allure us on our life journey. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, in Hymn of the Universe, described his own experience of awakening to intimate communion in the revelatory universe. And I quote, The world is still being created, and it is God who is reaching fulfillment in it. When I heard and understood that saying, I looked around and saw, as though in an ecstasy, that through all nature, I was immersed in God. God is everywhere. Every breath that passes through me, envelops me, or captivates me, emanates without any doubt from the heart of God. Like a subtle and essential energy, it transmits the pulsations of God's Spirit, unquote. Francis of Assisi then in the 12th century experienced and expressed in his unique way the same revelatory mystery of love experienced and described by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin in the 20th century. And now we, in the 21st century, are likewise invited to resonate with and give expression to the energies of divine love coursing through our being and all creation. Teilhard de Chardin also described love as a cosmic energy, and it's been quoted by others during our sharing. And I quote, "Love is the most universal, the most tremendous, and the most mysterious of the cosmic forces. The physical structure of the universe is love," unquote. So with this expanded understanding of love as the binding energy at the heart of the created universe, reflections from the cave experience on Mount Laverna opened up new depths of meaning. How are we to take in this new understanding of love in our daily lives? How does seeing and communing with the sacred depths of earth and beings of earth activate the energies of love in and through us? Iladilio invites us to explore this broader understanding of love. And I quote, "All levels of life are governed by principles of attraction and union. Love is a cosmic force before it is a human force. If matter is a form of energy, and the core energy of the universe is love, then all matter is a form of love. Stars are love energy. Cells are love energy. Plants are love energy. Creatures are love energy," unquote. And so, how do we understand ourselves as intimately interrelated with all beings in the community of Earth in an evolving universe? We're called to a new seeing. And Thomas Berry invites us to see, to perceive the sacred depths of this community to which we all belong. Quote, "In reality, there is a single integral community of the earth that includes all its component members, whether human or other than human. In this community, every being has its own role to fulfill, its own dignity, its inner spontaneity. Every being has its own voice. Every being declares itself to the entire universe. Every being enters into communion with other beings. This capacity for relatedness, for presence to other beings, for spontaneity in action is a capacity possessed by every mode of being throughout the entire universe," unquote. Thomas Berry goes on to explain that a way for us to activate our zest for life is to truly understand our spiritual calling. I quote, "Humans are now capable of not only knowing and serving the process of evolution, but also loving it. To embrace the universe and the earth is to be involved in a process in which one's own particular love is universalized and rendered dynamic and joined with a sense of evolution," unquote. We each have this spiritual calling to embody a love that reaches through the human to the larger world of all other species in the earth community, and now to realize that our love has ecological and cosmological dimensions for all present and future generations to come. And as we call on this sacred spiritual calling, what would be some very practical questions? And I offer just a couple. So if this love energy is the very physical structure of the evolving universe, what are ways we can be open to, align with, and embody the love energy to enhance our own zest for life? What would be some ways or practices that would help us intentionally align with and give embodied form to the love energy in our personal and communal lives and in the great work needed for the common good of all Earth community? With this wider understanding of love, we can envision, and we're also co-creating the future. Together through IPL, we participate in a field energy of love that's extended out with profound influence, reaching out and joining with others through committed collaborative work for the common good of all in our Earth community. The human, those suffering, the endangered species, the endangered plants, the wounds of our Mother Earth, and as we address the climate crisis. But as we carry on the great work, we are always continually aware that we work in a field of love that's continually renewable, inexhaustible energy for all. And so in closing, I'd like to invite us to join together and pray Francis's Canticle of Creation, if we're able to get it up on the screen, Joan. I invite us to recite it together. Most High, all-powerful, good God, yours are the praises, the glory, the honor, and all blessing. To you alone, Most High, do they belong. And know your creatures, especially Sir, Brother, Sun, who is the day and through whom you give us light. And he is beautiful and radiant with great splendor and bears the likeness of you, Most High One. Praised be you, my God, through Sister Moon and the stars. In heaven you formed them clear
and
and
clear
precious
and
and
precious and
beautiful.
beautiful.
Praise be you, my God, through brother wind and through the air, cloudy and serene, and every kind of weather, through which you give
With you sustenance.
To your creatures.
be you, my God, through sister,
Sister water,
which is very
which
useful
is very useful
and humble and
precious.
precious and
chaste.
chaste. Praised be you, my God,
Be you, my God,
through
through brother,
fire, through whom you light the night. And he is
and
beautiful
beautiful
and playful and robust,
and strong.
my God, through our sister, Mother Earth, who sustains and
And
governs us,
governs us.
and who produces
produces
varied fruits with colored flowers
gold
and herbs.
and herbs.
Praised be
Praised
you, my
be you,
God, through those who give pardon for your love and bear infirmity and tribulation. Blessed are those who endure